is you're changing to a different frequency.
Right.
It's a frequency discriminator.
Right.
All we're doing when you become a channel is you're tuning into the frequency of God, and then it's like now it's being brought, you're on the God channel. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So everybody can be a channel. It's not like it's anything secret. It's just learning to open yourself up, and when you feel that connection, you just let that go. You let it happen. You keep yourself tuned into it. Everybody can be a channel because that's all it is. You're picking up on a frequency.
Okay, well, I know that I've had many kinds of experiences with my intuition in bridge and life.
That's all, whether you know it or not, you're starting to channel.
Right.
The intuition is one way of channeling.
Right.
Most people don't listen to it.
No, I always listen.
Yeah, well, most people don't. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I
rare
tell
people.
I tell people, if you trust your intuition, I said if you have good intuition, trust your intuition and try to develop it more.
And it
Rely on
grows. Well, this
whether
little
it's
thing
good
that I
or
taught
not.
you about testing,
Yeah, that's
the
great.
more you do that testing,
Yes.
the more it opens up the amount of energy that comes into you. It's like anything else. It's like a
Correct.
muscle. If you don't ever exercise, it never gets stronger. But when you get to the point where you're asking these questions every day, it's literally like praying all the time. You're getting God involved with your decision-making process. You're saying, is this good for me to eat? Is that good for me to eat? Is this should I work with this person? Is this a good person? Now here's another fun one I like to tell people. It's like you can test, if you're a woman, let's say you want to know if this is a good guy to be with. You go, should I trust Joe Snake Oil? You get a no. And should, yeah, well, and you kind of go, is this guy, is he faithful? And you get a no. And then you ask, should I marry him? And you get a nothing. Well, there's a reason why you get a nothing. It's your free will. You can get all the answers that this guy, I shouldn't trust him, he's not faithful, he's definitely Joe Snake Oil. You want to marry him? Hey, your choice. That's the way life is. You can get and ask for the answers, and you can receive answers. And we all have that ability to do that. So once you try that and do that, if you think about having a spiritual cord that comes down into your crown, for most people it's like a little thread. But when you start doing spiritual practices, before you get up in the morning, if you meditate and you connect with the source, and you say you have intentions that today is going to be a wonderful day and everything's going to work right, you're literally connecting, and that channel gets bigger and bigger, and the energy that comes into you becomes bigger, and then your ability to know things and to see things and to sense things becomes easier and just effortless. You can get to the point where you're what I call in the flow all day long. You just know things immediately when you need to know them. I don't even, when I go in to talk in my lectures, I don't prepare at all. I walk in there and I just feel the energy in the room, and I let the source kind of come through me, and it's like it becomes specific to that group of people.
That's wonderful.
But the thing is, everybody can do this.
I know.
It just takes a little opening up and a little practice.
So what was that test thing you
Testing?
What, you can explain a little? Do you want to explain it again, or
yeah,
is that too
testing
complicated?
is literally you're asking for guidance. And like say, why don't you hand me an apple or something over there? Or a pear, that's fine, that's great. Now, everybody can do this, and you guys should stand up and try this. Grab one and see what you think. You just hold it simply like this, and you just go, is this good for me? And I get a positive.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
How can I get a positive?
Huh?
How can I
Just
get a
put-
positive?
You don't
the
have to.
apple in
You don't
your
have
hand.
to. If your intention, I always have people start holding something. But I'll tell you how powerful this little tool
Apple
is.
is good. Like it.
Ask yourself,
Just ask: Is this apple good for me?
Yes.
And you can feel it pulling you forward, right? Now, is there something that you don't like over there?
We like all
We
the
like
fruit.
everything.
I like everything there. So,
How about the empty box? Should I eat this?
well,
Oh no.
Should I eat this? I'm falling backwards.
oh yeah, try that. Just hold that and ask, is this good for me?
No. I don't know what this.
Well, theoretically, he said if it's good for you, you'll go forward. If it's bad for you, you'll go backward.
Yeah.
And if it's neutral, you'll just stay where you are.
Well, it depends on how she asked the question. If she goes, is this bad for me?
Is this bad to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel myself being pulled.
Yeah, and so, I tell people, let yourself go more, so that you really get the feeling of it.
Backwards, that means.
It's bad for you. Forward is good.
If it's
Backward.
bad
Well,
for
it
you,
depends on
you
how
should
you
go
ask the
forward.
question.
Why?
If you ask, is this bad for me, then you'd be going yes, right?
No, is it bad for me to eat?
Yeah, then it
So
should
you
be
should
yes.
be going forward.
What?
If you go backwards, it's saying no, it's
Oh,
not
it's not
bad
bad.
for you to eat. See? Okay. You have to.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's subjective.
Yeah. Sometimes, if you're not sure of the answer, rephrase it
Okay.
and do it a couple of times.
Okay. Should I be eating this? Definitely back.
Okay.
Not
Well,
should not be
and
eating.
just learn to let yourself go,
no,
because
no.
you don't.
Silicon.
You don't
Okay.
want to
Know what I
influence the
mean.
answer.
Okay.
You want to figure out what this answer
If
is.
you
Let it
have to
happen.
buy seaweed, better to buy seaweed without already ready-made. Because ready-made, they put oil, they put salt, everything. You better to buy plain seaweed,
Seaweed and cook
then
it yourself.
You just
Tastes like this.
how you cook, you just on
Okay.
the fire, you just do like this.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just plain seaweed, you just put on the fire. That's
thank
it.
you.
And you eat with the rice or whatever. Just you can eat like this.
And kimchi, you like kimchi?
I like it. Oh,
Great
you
food.
like kimchi?
It's
You'd
very
be
good
surprised
for
how
health.
many things I've tried about it.
It's very good for
I've
you.
eaten things all over the
Fermented
world.
foods are good for you.
Well, I've made fermented food.
No.
I like to collect wild foods, like chickweed and lamb's quarter, different things like that, and then ferment it. And then you have wild plants that have a lot of nutrition, and they're also fun when they're fermented.
Right.
So
That's
believe
wonderful.
me.
I would love that.
Yeah.
As I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy this 100 times better than working in aerospace, because I see the results.
So when did you start doing this?
It's kind of a long story, because I've been doing things in this realm differently for years. I mean, I started off learning about homeopathic medicines and learning about wild plants and herbs and things like that. And then it just kind of kept growing. My interest just kept growing, and I planted a lot of the stuff around my house so that I have a lot of the natural herbs and things growing that are up here on the mountains. And then that kind of went into, I wanted to make myself completely sustainable. And then I also wanted to have all the herbs and everything, but then I kept coming down to antibiotics and stuff like that, and pain medicines, and it's like, how do you keep that and store it for a period of time? And so then I found out about pranic healing, and I said, well, hey, this is interesting. So I went to a demonstration, and I got hooked, and after the first class and I started doing some healing and it worked, I said, okay, I learned everything that they taught. And then, of course, the more I did that, and the more I taught people how to heal themselves, the more things I was taught. So it's like when you get into a teacher mode and you're giving things to people, you get more. So it's a constant cycle. And things, I have some tools that have come to me that I just love. And when people learn them, they love them. And they've just been given to me.
Now, since you've been doing pranic healing, have you ever been sick?
Yeah.
Were you able to either
This has been
dismiss
interesting.
it or
To a certain degree. But what I've found out
Recover
about
faster.
healers in general is most healers cannot heal themselves. And there's a reason for that I found out, is that it, one, it keeps you humble. for two, you learn what it's like to go ask somebody else to be healed. That makes you understand what
Right.
people are going through when they
Yes.
come to you to be
Yeah,
healed.
that makes sense.
So there are aspects of this that, at first I didn't realize. In fact, I had this one Reiki master. She's, what do you think? Do you think what I do is fake at all or doesn't work? And she goes, no, I've been to your classes. I see people healed all the time. And I said, I can't heal myself. And she goes, what? And I said, yeah, healers generally can't heal themselves because they just get a big head because, hey, I can do anything. I can heal people. And it feeds into the ego. The ego is the thing you have to have
Right.
completely out of you anyway.
Yes.
And you cannot do healing and have an ego. So if you could heal yourself, that would just feed to the ego.
Right.
You would not understand what other people are going through, and it would just blow everything up. So once I told her that, it was like I could see the light bulb go on.
That's great.
Yeah.
So now she's doing Reiki again?
Well, now she's doing Reiki again.
Great.
Yeah.
You
Well,
did
we need a lot of
wonderful
healers.
mitzvah. You know what that word is?
Mitzvah, circumstance.
No, it means like a good deed.
Good deed.
I think it's a Yiddish word.
Yeah, well,
A
it sounds
mitzvah.
like it.
You're doing something good for someone.
Well, that's what it's all about. We're
Yeah,
all supposed to be
right.
doing good things for people.
Right.
You do this at the same place every 2 weeks? or something?
Yeah, I do it there every 2 weeks. I'm really looking forward to working with the doctor. He wants to work with people that have addictions. And his whole idea of what people have as addictions, and of course what they talk about pranic healing is completely different. Because they talk about, spiritual beings that cause the addiction. They kind of look like a paramecium or something like that. They're just kind of a little spiritual entity that feeds off this kind of energy, like anger or hatred or alcohol or drugs or anger, sex, things like that. All of these kind of get lodged into a person, and I think of it like, when you have a parasite, the parasite injects something into your system that makes you want to have more sugar and things in your diet. These things kind of do the same thing. They help to make you angry because then they feed off that energy. So it's a different concept, and it took me a while to wrap my head around that too, because I don't come from that background.
That's what we teach in Divine Principle.
Oh, the same
Exactly
thing.
the same.
Same thing. And they lodge in the chakras, and the reason they lodge there, it's like I always heard this term, God, that person snapped. What literally happens is the spiritual web snaps, and when it snaps, then that's when these entities can get into it. So when you have some kind of a stressful circumstance, and the other thing that I started to realize, they talk about people having anger from generation to generation. What it really is like if you have an angry parent that beats the child, while they're beating the child, they're opening them up to these same entities that they have. So it isn't really generational. It's just that that's how these things are being imparted, and they don't understand that concept. Because it sounds off the wall. I mean, and I was a man of science, and everything I had to do in aerospace, it had to work. So when you talk about something like this, it sounds completely bonkers, until I've actually seen it and felt it. One of my hand as I was doing that. It was so freaky. So after that experience, it's like I don't ask that anymore. I just get rid of them.
Right.
Don't want to feel that.
Anyway, I think definitely this might be something good, or even it might be possible you might even give a sermon. You ever give a sermon?
I haven't really done it at churches, but I've done it to different small groups. But I do have, like I said, a pretty interesting way of doing things. So if you come to the thing on Wednesday,
we'll see.
it would be similar.
We'll see.
It would be similar to that.
Okay, great. Anyway, I'll try to bring my wife and her daughter and her
Okay.
sister,
Well, that would be wonderful.
and maybe more people.
Well, whoever wants to come,
Yeah.
they're all welcome.
Right. No.
It may be a little crowded, but that's okay. I mean,
How many people usually typically come?
it's been anywhere around 30 or so, or
that's
more.
good. That's
And
good.
we just have to. If you're going to really come, I can pull the rest of the chairs out of the doctor's office. They've got some in the back room, so we can just go and pull all.